Hi, I'm Neva, and this is
Elijah.
Elijah was involved in the Reading Power program in North Chicago at North Elementary School, which is now called Evelyn Alexander Elementary School. He's now in 8th grade at Learn 6, trying to decide what high school to go to.
I'd like to go to Carmel Catholic High School.
Some of the things that I remember about when he was in Reading Power was that one day he came home with a picture of himself holding up our famous whiteboard with his name on it. And one of his tutors was in the picture. I asked him what his tutor's name was, and he said he didn't remember, but he was going to call her Sunshine because her smile reminded him of sunshine. Over the course of that school year, Elijah learned many things, but one of the things that stayed with him over the years is his love for learning and researching anything, particularly historical events.
Mm-hmm.
As his organizational thought process his organizational thought process that I believe stemmed from him learning the beginning, middle, and ending of a story, and when kids created their own book that year, how to organize a story he had created using this process. Through Reading Power that year, Elijah created a book called Scrappy the Cat. It was a really big deal for him as well as for our family because I'm a writer, and that year I had my first book published. So for him to be able to come home and show me that book, or actually he showed it to me on Parent Day, and after seeing the printed copy of my book at home, it was something that he took great pride in, and I was also very proud of him. That day, I was approached by one of his tutors, as well as the director of Reading Power at the time, Rebecca, who told me that they were looking for more tutors. I said, I'd think about it. I had just started working as a 911 dispatcher for our city, and our hours were pretty crazy, so I kind of pushed the idea of tutoring aside for about a year. The next year, I reached out to Rebecca when Elijah was in 3rd grade and my youngest child, Anthony, was in 1st grade. And I was like, hey, do you guys still need some tutors? And Rebecca was really excited, and I agreed to devote one afternoon a week to the kindergartners at Forrestal. Forrestal is where I tutored for 2 years before switching over to Learn 10, which is actually closer to my house. Let me tell you, I had no idea how much I was going to love tutoring. Tutoring is really what gives me the fuel to get through my week. It hasn't been a learning experience just for the kids, but for myself as well. For example, when I started tutoring, my youngest was in 1st grade, and I asked him what he thought a book was going to be about before we read it, and then to summarize what happened when we were finished, going as far as asking him the beginning, middle, and ending of a story. And this may sound odd to someone who is not an educator, but that's not something that I would have thought of doing at home. I think that learning to do this when reading a book to your child, grandchild, niece, or nephew is extremely beneficial, and it also helps build your relationship with them by opening up a new line of communication. At that time, my youngest Anthony was attending Learn 6, and Reading Power wasn't in the school yet. But that year, I asked about getting us there and would have loved him to go through the program as well. At Reading Power, we're not just showing kids how to read or what sounds a letter makes. We're opening up their whole thinking process, helping boost their confidence and their speaking skills. Besides this, we are their friends. We build relationships with them and hear about their family, what they did the previous weekend, their pets, why they like going to the store. And sometimes we don't necessarily hear the things that we would like to hear. Like, I had one student tell me that the police had been at her house the night before because her mom and her mom's boyfriend were arguing, and that she was really tired. This came after I asked her if she had gotten enough sleep because she was continuously yawning while I was working with her. It seemed like she was tired a lot of the times in class, and I couldn't imagine what she was going through. But at some point, I remember realizing that we might be a major part of her Stability. By working one-on-one with the students, they're able to open up to us more than they may necessarily open up to their own teachers. We are in turn able to pass that information on to their teacher when we feel it is helpful to them. Maybe it's something their teacher didn't realize, having a handful of kids to work with at one time. For example, during my 4 years at Reading Power, I've been able to diagnose pink eye as well as a student who needed glasses. As for me personally, my favorite age group to work with is kindergartners, because you see the incredible amount of growth. That was Anthony, my son upstairs. I don't know if you heard him scream. So, my favorite age group to work with is kindergartners, because you see the incredible amount of growth they achieve over the school year. It makes me so excited to see them learning to recognize their letters and the sounds that each letter makes. Don't get me wrong, I've worked with first and second graders in the past, and that's fun too, especially when they can read you a story, move up a level in their book selection, or can tell you the meaning of a complex word. Okay, but that's not the best part. I think any tutor will agree that their favorite part of tutoring is when one of the students runs up to you with a smile on their face, overjoyed to see you, or better yet, they give you a hug. The kids really enjoy the program so much that they are anxious to come to Reading Power when another student is absent, or sometimes they aren't as anxious to line up at the door when we're done working with them for the day. Well, I hope that helps you better understand the value of Reading Power in our community, and you guys have a great day.